we're still speaking to each other still. Remarkable. So in 2017, Mr. Oliver has worn many hats in his life and had many different jobs. And at that point in time, I was in charge of a bicycle race up Mount Washington. So if you could imagine, I know a lot of you have been on top of Mount Washington, right? Now, if you could imagine riding a bicycle up Mount Washington. So Brian reached out to me and said, I'd like to participate in your race. Like, oh, okay, that's nice. My name's Brian Hall. I'd like to participate in your race. And I knew right there and then that it was the start of a beautiful relationship, a beautiful friendship. That particular day, it wasn't like the second time you went up, but that day, if I remember right, it rained maybe the night before.
It rained during. Well, I had a narrow window to send us out.
Right. Oh, sure. So on that particular day, if you're familiar with Mount Washington, the race and the hill climb up is one thing. It's only one hill, but you have to climb so many feet. But if you're climbing that high, that means you're going through many different weather systems. You can get blown off your bike. The temperature might be 60 or 70 degrees at the bottom, but at top it might be like 35 degrees with a 20-mile-an-hour wind or 40-mile-an-hour wind. So we sent Brian up that day, and he was killer diller. He did a great job. And then years later, then you did it one more time after that, right?
2018, 2019, then the pandemic.
And then the pandemic. And then after the pandemic, Brian said, Jotham, I want to come back and do your race, but this time I want you to do it. So that was, by and large, probably one of the best weekends of my life. It was a great, amazing opportunity in which Brian and I, who had already at that point in time become lifelong friends, but our friendship, a circle, grew,
Sure.
in which we had other people that we were able to include in it. And so Brian and I were able to climb up Mount Washington together. And we have footage. We were part of an amazing experience that we want to share with you today. So we thank you very much for coming. And ladies and gentlemen, I present you Brian Hall and Karen Rawls.
Thank you. Good morning. It's great to see you all today. Thank you, Jotham. I'm in this wheelchair because I have Parkinson's disease. I've had it for a very long time. But I'm asking everyone today to try to live beyond your fears. It's truly an honor to be here, Jotham. Thank you for asking me to speak. Thank you, brother. So, how do we overcome obstacles in our life? Anyone? Yes. That is a great answer. By facing them. Anyone else? Yes. Very good. Taking risks. Facing them, taking risks. Who else has something to add? Yes.
If you get knocked down, always get back up.
Excellent. Anyone else?
Work hard.
Very good. So I'm getting a picture of some of the students here. You've faced obstacles and you've overcome them, right? And you've found ways to do that. So should we allow obstacles the power to define and derail us? or rather be defined by how we choose to face those obstacles and challenges. I've always gravitated towards the second option here, like you. My disease does not define me. I believe I'm defined by how I choose to live. As you know, I'm Brian Hall, very happy to be here today. And I live in the seacoast part of the state with Karen. And I'm coming to speak to you today with one purpose in mind. To share with you that obstacles can be overcome. We just need to maintain a positive mental attitude and outlook. My story begins with a brief medical history. I want to go back one. This is Jotham to my, well, it's my left, but right in the photo, Bill Miller on the other side. Was that the day before the?
That was the day before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Setting up plans that you would soon destroy our plans.
We'll get to that. Has anyone here had a family member, friend, loved one who's had Parkinson's disease? Anyone? Really? Yep. Who?
My grandpa.
Yeah, how's he doing?
Okay.
It's a tough battle. I've been symptomatic with Parkinson's disease 48 years. Since I was 14 years old, I started having foot cramps, real painful, not being able to walk, trying out for sports. They'd, come on and they'd knock me on my butt. It was really challenging. And that went on for a lot of years. Then I started taking medication for Parkinson's. They didn't say it was Parkinson's what I had, but the medication helped for a while. Then it didn't do much. I had brain surgery to abate the symptoms, called DBS, deep brain stimulation, where they implant pacemakers in your chest and wire electrodes in your brain to help with the symptoms. And that's been probably the best decision I've ever made, because it's allowed me to get off the meds. And I don't think I'd be riding a bike with Jotham or be able to do these things if I was still on medication. So I'm very fortunate to be able to say I'm 62 now, and I've had this disease 48 years. That's a long time. And I'm medication free. So I'm very happy about that. But that's a little bit more about my medical background. But how does someone move from this reality, being, physically challenged, having a movement disorder, to this one? I use my fear as a motivational tool. Does everyone understand what I mean by that? I'm using a fear that I have as a way to motivate me to get up and move. And the fear is this. The greatest fear I have to face is being alive but not living. This disease I'm dealing with it's very easy to let it run you over and you stop living. I never wanted that. So I fought very hard to keep a fun and active life. I feel blessed about that. And this continues to motivate me to be in the moment and live my best life. This fair has led me to places and achieve goals I could never dream possible. That was a 2018 race. That's me. It was so foggy. Do you remember? It was crazy. It was so cool, though. There's something truly miraculous in doing something you're not quite sure you can do. It lifts the spirit. And it's a life-changing opportunity. Who's done something in their life that they didn't think they could do or complete? What was it?
Just trying to ride a bike.
Good for you.
I do it, but it's not a thing.
Good for you. It's a step outside your comfort zone, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
To get up and try, and you don't think you can do it, but you end up being able to do it. That's a real gift. You should be proud of yourself for doing that. Congratulations. You feel like you can fly in ways you never could before, right? This is exactly what riding a bike feels like to me. Flying.
If we could pause there for a second. Brian rides a bike, and Brian's going up Mount Washington. Do you see to his left? There's not much there. That was fun, following Brian up a mountain, in which there wasn't much there on the other side. That was a good time.
I don't think you're. Well, when I get over to the edge, you're like,
Yeah, that was a great time.
but how did I get to this place in my life? That is important to talk about. I had a lot of help along the way. And saying yes to a pivotal life-changing opportunity was instrumental in bringing me to this place of balance and self-awareness. In February 1992, at 30 years old, I skied Mont Blanc in Chamonix, France. That is what Mont Blanc is. It's the highest peak in Europe. And who thinks Mount Washington's tall? It is tall. This is more than twice the height of Mount Washington. The Aiguille du Midi is the lift that takes skiers from the village of Chamonix to the top of Mont Blanc. And Aiguille du Midi in French means the needle. And if you look at it, that's what it looks like, a needle. But if you see the picture on the right, those are people, me included, walking down a finger of the Alp. And if you lose your footing, it's going to be a short but treacherous ride to the bottom. I mean, it's over. There is people every year who die up there in avalanches, skiing into crevasses, number of situations they get into and they don't come back. But my dear friend Bob Duffy was adamant about me going with him to Europe to ski. We skied in Italy, Switzerland, and France. And it was a time of my life. Really, it was. But you can see the fear on my face. This is a picture of us together at the summit of Mont Blanc. But that's, I was really frightened of what might be ahead of me. I was ill with fear with good reason. If you can see, it's over 14 miles, all out of bounds, skiing. And as you can see the other side, skiers beware. So I worried if I could see this challenge all the way through. And that's the very finger of the Alp that I walked down. You see on the left part of the picture where the people are, that's where you can put on your skis and drop in. But up to that point, it's pretty hairy. Together, Bob and I, we shared a life experience second to none. That day changed my life. And I successfully faced my fears. And so survived, basically. Skiing Mont Blanc forever changed me and the trajectory of my life. It taught me how to soar. As time went on, my disease had progressed, eroding my physical abilities. The one thing I wouldn't allow was the pain from my Parkinson's to erode my spirit. Because that's the one thing I can control. I can't control having the disease, but I definitely can control if it's going to take my spirit and ruin my life. And that's something I can definitely control. Eventually, I could no longer ski, play tennis, golf, or participate in any other sports I loved. Moving further away from that feeling that I could soar. Fast forward 21 years, I started riding a bike in the spring of 2013. That's me. We're at the summit of Mount Washington. My whole world changed. Walking for me is so difficult. I can't even explain to anyone how much thought and effort goes into taking every step. It's very challenging for me. But riding a bike, it's free. It's easy. Just like when I was your age. I love it. It freed me. It gave me back a piece of my physical freedom that's not available to me through any other forms of sport or exercise. Still, I felt something was missing. I loved riding a bike, but there was still a component in the activity that was missing. I need to recapture that moment and experience that feeling of achievement and spiritual soaring once again, like on Mont Blanc. I wrote this man. How long do you think I think I corresponded with you almost 10 or 11 months before. I mean, Jotham, I don't know. I imagine you respect him, you love him as your teacher, but this man, has such a heart. Thank you, Jotham. And he worked to get me the opportunity to be the first guy on a Pegasus e-bike in that event. He didn't have to do that. He did suggest I try some other events, though. I was like, no, I really want to do this. But what event did you want me to do? Crank the Kank? Well, with Jotham's help and Lisa McCoy, I was the first allowed to participate in the Mount Washington Off-Road Bicycle Hill Climb with a Pegasus e-bike, which, having the disease I have, that's probably the only way I'm going to get up that mountain is with a Pegasus e-bike. Who's tried one of those? Has anyone? Could you tell me what your thoughts are, Mr. Hammer?
Yeah, I really enjoy my pedal assist e-bike. I ride it into school occasionally when the weather's good. It's just easier for the hills. I could do it without it, but it just makes it such an enjoyable experience.
Yeah. And has anyone? So you own one?
Yes.
What kind? Mountain
It's
bike?
Yes, it's a mountain bike. It's not a name brand.
Yeah. That's cool. Thanks for sharing. Any students here? Have you tried it? It's amazing.
My mom.
Your mom has one?
Yeah, my mom, when she was in Scotland, she rode it.
Wow. It's if you get the opportunity, give it a try. I think you'd like it. Like I said before, I'm the very. Has there been any other people on e-bike Pegasus since you, me, and Bill?
Yeah.
Who?
Well, remember we met them at the practice ride. Now that's
Oh.
the thing. They do the practice ride. The race, no.
Yeah.
The practice ride, yes.
Yeah. Participating in the Mount Washington Bicycle Hill Climb every year is such a crucial part to my overall health. It really is. I mean, I took this last year off, and well, it's been a rude awakening. I once again had the sense of accomplishment and feeling that my spirit was soaring free like a Mont Blanc. Each year the Mount Washington proves special, but none more special than the 2022 race. Not in my wildest dreams did I think I could summit Mount Washington in one push. Meaning, the first year I did the race, I stopped every 2 miles, and I did it in 2 hours, 19 minutes, and some change. 2019, I was on pace to do better, and I trained very hard to improve 2019 over 2018. And I went into it with the mindset, I'm going to do this in one push. I don't want to stop. And I ended up having Parkinson's, there's a lot of fatigue, and when you get fatigue, all things fall apart, and you start making bad decisions. But the fatigue breaks you down, and I made a bad decision. Crashed my bike. I think I cracked a rib, but it took me over 3 hours to reach the summit. And 2020, pandemic, 2021, we had a half race, or what was that?
Is that a 2-hour delay?
I think it wasn't a full, it was still pandemic.
Yeah. Oh,
And
that's right, yeah, yeah.
And 2022, I had Giant Bicycle got in touch with me and offered to support me in the event, and Jotham got involved, Barrett Dyer got involved, a lot of people. Karen was there, she was a huge help. And we all were there, with the same goal, get me up the mountain safely. And Jotham and Bill Miller, who's a Giant executive, rode the race with me. And their plan was to have me stop every 3 miles, 2 or 3 times before I summited. But that year I made up, I think we crossed the start line last of 580 something riders, and Jotham finished just before me, 49th, I finished 50th, so we passed. How many? I finished an hour 11, which blew my mind. I never thought I'd be able to do that race without stopping. And that's, sometimes we put things in our minds that are governors to getting things accomplished, and we can surprise ourselves and do better than we ever thought we could. So that kind of blew my mind. I digress. This is me and Jotham at the finish. Participating in life is everything. Never give up on what's in your heart to do. What made the 2022 race so special to me wasn't what I did, but rather who I got to share this amazing experience with. These are all the people. Bill Miller's in the middle between Jotham and Tina. That's my brother Mark on the left picture, who has Parkinson's as well. Karen has Parkinson's as well. There's you and Bill getting blown over.
The day before the race, Bill and I, if you've gone to Mount Washington and have you leaned into the wind, right? The wind keeps you up. Bill is what, 6'3"?
Yeah.
Probably weighs $180, $190, right? And there's Bill we got disconnected. There's Bill, as big as he is, and the wind is keeping Bill up. So it was a rather windy day. We weren't sure if the race was going to continue the next day, because once the wind hits around 50, 60 miles an hour, you get concerned that cyclists are just going to get blown off their bikes.
The picture to the right is me and my neurologist of 20 years. That's Dr. Prather Palmer from Leahy Clinic in Massachusetts. He's in his 80s. He's come to the event every year I've been in it. Great guy, great physician. You have a question?
Well, I have kind of a comment. My grandfather always ran the race at up Mount Washington, and 1 year he did pretty good.
Wow. How old is your grandpa?
Oh, I think he's in his 60s, but he has dementia.
Wow.
Very good that he does that.
Thank you. These are just more pictures of the support I have. Celebratory beer. I am very blessed to have so much love, support, and kind people around me that enable me, they enable me to achieve these goals. I believe kindness brings us together. My experience in life has taught me the most difficult person to be kind to is yourself. Being kind to yourself is an obstacle that we can learn to overcome as well. I just have one question. What lives beyond your fears? Thank you. I have a short video of the 2022 race with Jotham, Mr. Oliver in it with me if you'd like to see. I could play that for you if you like. Who would like to see that? All right, that's a good sign. Just do you have a Wi-Fi?
Do we have Wi-Fi? Yes, we do. Password is internet. Lowercase. So coming on. No internet. What's up, boss?
No internet.
So have you, so if we, do you, where's your, how do you, I'm not seeing your menu bar. Oh, there we go. So when I click there, what happens? And, hey, Mr. Hammer, paging Mr. Hammer.
You got it.
Oh,
Looks like he's set, but you tell me differently. So, one thing that, I hope I'm not spoiling too much here, Brian. One thing that the video, a few things that the videos don't show is that, as Brian alluded to, we were the last people to leave. So, if we were the last people to leave, there were 580 people ahead of us. We finished 50th. Do bad math, you passed 530 people. Are you okay with? We passed about 530 people on the way up. So it's quite a task when you're on a road and you need to weave your way in and out of traffic to get up. Right around the 1 mile mark, Brian was up ahead and Bill and I were following behind. And Bill's chain snapped in two. All I heard was, "I'm done." So I quickly turned around, I gave him my chain brake tool, and I was like, "Okay, don't worry, Bill, we will see you at the 3 mile mark." So we're going along, and it's a warm day. Brian has alluded to the fact that when you get fatigued with Parkinson's, you might have more spasms. I'm more cognizant, but I'm also by myself. Brian's bike weighs 53 pounds, and then there's the weight of Brian. I probably could have used Bill's help. That's what I was thinking. So on the way up, we're going, I'm like, oh, there's a good place for us to turn over. Hey, Brian, let's pull over. We got the good, Brian kid, keeps going. We get to like 3 mile mark, 4 mile mark. Right around the 5 mile mark, I'm like, that jerk is gonna go the distance. He's decided in his head, he's gonna go all the way. We see our good friend Adam, he's like in the cow pasture. You guys know where the cow pasture is on Mount Washington. And I tell Bill, call ahead. We're coming in hot, we're coming in early. There's a film crew at the top. There's a film crew getting ready to capture Brian and all his magnificence coming in, and they're not ready. Because again, if you're on Mount Washington, these things don't work that well. So, when you do the Mount Washington hill climb, similar to Darby's grandfather and his race, it is a circus at the top. Everybody's waiting for you at the top. You hit what's called the wall. It's a 22% grade. So think the steepest hill that you've ever ridden a bike up, it's steeper than that. And you got to monster your way through that and hit the finish line. So we're coming up, and lo and behold, this is great. We're flying in. This is a magnificent moment. Everybody's cheering. But the film crew is not there, right? We blow by everybody, and the only footage that exists were the GoPros that were on our bikes
yeah.
and other people taking pictures. So it was quite an emotional experience for Brian and I both. The things that we had to overcome in order to get there. And I hope those are some of the messages that you heard. How do we overcome those fears? How do we overcome those obstacles? We face those obstacles, hopefully. There's a lot of effort. And hopefully you surround yourself with good people. Okay, it is quite challenging in life to go through obstacles, but going through them alone makes it even more so. Make sure that one message I hope that you take away today is surround yourself with good people. Right?
Yeah.
Through good people, good friends, good family, anything is possible.
I like to add something here. There was an article written about me in my local paper about doing this event in 2018. Karen read it. I wouldn't even know her if Jotham didn't help me get on that mountain. I would have never met Karen. She is everything to me. I know every time I say that to Jotham, you don't know how big it is. You helped me. That's huge. It changed everything for
This
me.
is a tennis game Brian and I play all the time. He gives me this compliment, and then it's my serve. And then
Yeah,
after
that was
He,
That was an ace. Ace. You didn't even get to put a racket on that one. No.
you gotta show up. Brian showed up. You know, that race happens every year. There's 600 some odd people doing that race. Everybody else is at home, right? Plenty of other people don't do that race. Plenty of other people who have Parkinson's certainly don't do that race. Brian showed up. Brian had showed up multiple times, has been a spokesperson for other people. Going up that race, some of the monumental things that happened, as we were passing people, you got people cheering Brian on. Oh, Brian, you know, Brian, my father has Parkinson's. And it was such an emotional ride for us. Brian is an inspiration to us all, but again, it's that showing up. You gotta be there. Big part of life. In the James Anderson gym that you go to, the former gym teacher, he would always say, got my own microphone now. There we go. Anyways, this will work. This reminds me of my days of being a backup singer for Taylor Swift. But anyways, James Anderson, who the gym is named after, he would often say, one of the biggest parts of life, one of the most important part of life is simply showing up. And you did. And you're here today, continuing to give your message and being an inspiration for us all. So thank you to that.
Thank you. Here's the video. Is it on? I'm not seeing it.
So it looks like you have. There you go.
Thank you.
I don't think we have audio, right? There we go.
All right. One more time. Let's try it.
The race is 7.6 miles up. It is, by many measures, the steepest hill climb, if not North America, the world. Overall, we're looking at an average grade of 12%. You end at 22% of the wall. First third of the race is the steepest third. You need a chain brake tool? A lot of people will completely burn out. Oh, I'm done. This mountain, it's the true testament of the cycling will.
You never know what you're capable of unless you try. That's what this whole thing has been about for me.
Brian Hall was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease as a teenager, and tomorrow at age 60, the New Hampshire native is planning to do the Mount Washington Auto Road Bicycle Hill Climb.
The bike is a miracle. I am physically free in a way I can't be on anything else in this world right now. This is the one day a year I can be like everyone else.
time taking part in the race, and he's hoping to finish it in 2 hours.
Thank you for coming to the 39th annual Mount Washington Hill Climb. And they're off. Week 2. Good luck.
This race, it's such a big commitment, physically, mentally. The result doesn't matter to me. The real joy of this is in the sense of freedom. I get to leave Parkinson's behind and hopefully achieve the summit.
Brian's like a dart weaving in and out of riders. I'm going along, I'm huffing and puffing, and I'm like, can I keep up with him? Everything is going by
unicyclist.
so fast. Good job, buddy. Good job. People are cheering him on. Brian, you're an inspiration.
Nice job, Brian.
Thank you. Thank you.
Inspired, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
We had a plan going into this. Hey, Brian, mile 3, let's pull over, let's get some water in here. I'm realizing, like, okay, we're beyond mile 3, we're beyond mile 4. And I'm like, hey, he hasn't stopped. He is willing himself to the top, and he has on his shoulders just people cheering him on.
Yeah. Read your book. It's awesome. Oh.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Inspired my best friend's father.
Oh,
He has Parkinson's.
Oh, wow. Well, we'll talk at the bar. All right, brother. Thank you.
Thank you.
We get to 4th mile, I'm thinking, geez, 4 miles already? I was shocked. Went to 6 miles. I said, I'm not stopping.
his cadence is only increasing. He's getting faster as he gets to the top. The crowd is roaring. Whole orchestra of sound.
Come on, Brian.
I didn't know it was possible for me to do that.
I'm so proud of you. So hard for this.
2019, it was 3 hours, 4 minutes.
Right. Today was what, an hour and 50?
I'm happy for you, Brian.
Bill, that bike's amazing.
Well, the bike is only half the tool. You're the other half.
Sweet.
Okay, ain't going anywhere by itself, is it?
So he called me a tool.
Oh, yeah.
I think he just did call you
I'll
a
call
tool.
you a tool.
When we try to do something we're not sure if we can do, and we do it, that's a gift of growth. We did.
I'm ridiculous.
There's one thing I could share with people about my story is never give up, never quit. I hope this gives other people hope in their lives that they are capable of doing more than they thought they could. Thank you. Anyone have any questions? Yes.
So there was something that I wanted to talk about. The part where you said that you were turning your fears into something that you could use as motivation, something that you could use as a way something you can look at to get better. It reminded me of something I saw once. So there was this master class on a person who was the guy who created a company called Reddit. Now, so this guy, in his early years of creating this company, he met with the creators of Yahoo. He met with that company, and they talked for a minute, and then they looked at Reddit's numbers, and they said, you are an arithmetic error compared to Yahoo. And they left. And he decided to use that as motivation. And he wrote it on his wall, and every day he looked in the mirror and looked at it and said, you are an arithmetic error. And he succeeded.
Wow. Okay, hold on, just one. I'd like to comment to that. My whole thing is, who's heard of the Beatles? Pretty good band, right? Everywhere they went, everyone said, we don't want you. What I'm saying to all you is you gotta want yourself and support and believe in yourself if you're gonna get beyond things, get over obstacles. It comes from within. Outside, people, they may not support you in the way that you need, but we all need to look at how we support ourselves and how we take care of ourselves. So your point about motivation through fear, what I do, I don't have a lot of fears. My greatest fear is being here but not living. So having that one fear for me motivates me to live the best I can. And in my situation, sure, there's things out of my control, but there's still things that I can control. So thank you. Yes.
Can I use your motto, never give up, never quit, never fail the documentary?
Sure. By all means. When is that coming out?
Like in the end of the night, I just wanted to write it down.
Sure. Actually, if it's okay with Mr. Oliver, I'm sure you can have access to the footage of what we did together if you want. You're welcome. Yes.
There was a quote in your PowerPoint. Could you send the PowerPoint to Mr. Oliver? I would like to use that in my speech, if that's okay.
I will. I will definitely do that. I'll send that today. Yes.
How do you think your life would be different if you didn't complete the challenge?
Which?
Or like the challenge of biking up Mount Washington?
Well, I don't think it'd be different at all, really. I mean, my whole goal in doing that event was I didn't care if I made it to the summit or made only 100 yards. I really wanted to participate in that event and be in life and enjoy the camaraderie of other people doing the event. It didn't matter to me if I made it all the way to the summit or not. So I think, successfully making it to the summit it's a cool thing, but I just want to be out there and experience it, do my best, and let the chips fall where they may. You know, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Cool. Yes,
What was the toughest part in the race?
training. The race itself, you have nerves and butterflies. That's pretty normal.
Or
But-
maybe you didn't eat breakfast, right?
Like today. But training for was tough because the way I train, I don't use the e-bike. I don't get on the e-bike until the day of the race. I train on a regular bike, up hills, on roads, and I don't know about you guys in this area, but people do not drive cars. They don't look where they go, and they come far too close to cyclists. So training is scary, very scary.
I just want to add on to what I said. So I made a reference that maybe Brian did or didn't pick up. So the day of the race, he talked about his nerves. So Brian and I, that weekend, we all ate dinner together, lunch together, breakfast together. So we're all there. We know that we have to cycle up Mount Washington. And Brian and I are being wise in our dietary choices. Bill Miller was woofing down everything you could scarf down. He's like, ah. And I'm like Egg McMuffin, all this greasy stuff. And I'm like, I know I'm going to see that food later, but in a different form. So maybe it was good his chain broke, but his chain broke, and he fixed it, and he tried to catch up with us. That's one of the other amazing stories of this event, is that he tried to catch up to us. And in doing so, he lost his breakfast, right? And to this day, there's a monument. No, there isn't a monument where he puked, but it was the joke that I have for Bill is that they still have a golden outline of where you spewed your chunks and lost your lunch or breakfast. But it is, the training, the best answer to your question was training. The race is one day and it's for a couple hours.
Yep.
Most people, when I talk to them, being the event coordinator, they train, dare I say, year round. A good chunk of them at least train for half the year because it is that steep of a race. The next time you go on a bike ride and you're huffing and puffing, maybe you're going to Weston's Beach and you got to go by Weston's Farm and you got to climb that hill. That's nothing compared to Mount Washington. So there's a lot of training that needs to go into the race. There's that, then there's your bike. Your bike needs to be operating flawlessly as well. So there's a lot that goes in the race. That was a great question.
Anyone else? Yes.
Alongside a comment that I think you really highlighted how just one person can impact someone's life so significantly, and especially to share that with so many people at this age. We don't have to reach everyone, but the just words, simple words, can really impact people, and it can just be something so simple, and it can leave a lasting impression and change people.
Thank
And it really is shown. And these kids all have that same ability to do that. And it's amazing that we have somebody right here, and even you being here today, most likely has done that for somebody here. They're gonna go home and share this with their families. And so you being here has touched people here. And so I think we've all gained significantly from you being here and Mr. Oliver sharing, and I'm blessed that we were able to come and have this moment, and so it really has a large impact, so we
Thank
appreciate it.
It's I get more from you all than I give. It's reciprocal. It's a circle. But thank you. It means a lot. Thank you very much. Anyone else have anything they'd like to say? Okay.
All right, well, I think one huge round of applause for Brian. Thank you so much, and Karen, for coming today. And of course, Mr. Hammer, for all your technological expertise. We appreciate that too. Now, fifth grade students, turn your attention to Mrs. LePage for your next set of instructions.
All right, my friends.
Sixth grade, why do I keep saying that? You were fifth grade last year, right?
You did a big job.